Welcome to Manga Experts. We are back with another top 10 recommendation list. If you like our videos, please leave a like and subscribe for regular updates of our videos. Without any further ado, let's get started. Number 10. Legends of Hesperia. In the land of Hesperia, the war between the Lightbearers and the Maulers is on the verge of breaking out. Thane, who's eager to become a strong warrior, goes to the battlefield with his famous sword, Lotus, where he meets Baden, a nobleman who's also a self-trained warrior. They are more like a fated rival or a comrade. When Thane begins to understand the meaning of becoming stronger, an evil conspiracy hidden behind the war gradually surfaces. This manhwa is based on a mobile game called AFK Arena. You can still enjoy it even if you know nothing about the game. This manhwa does an excellent job of portraying a medieval fantasy setting. The art of this manhwa is top tier. Characters are also decent. The world building is marvelous. Give this a try if you want a high-tier fantasy story. The only problem with this manhwa is that it updates after months. For now, you can read 20 chapters on INKR website or app for free. Number 9. Chaos Lands. One day, university student Su An-ni fell into a crack of time and space, along with her professor and a class fellow. They woke up in a different space, where time and space had intertwined. There, they find many other people who were also like them, and no one had any idea why they were in that place. Now, these survivors have to work together to survive these chaos lands. The overall premises of this manhwa is quite unique, but it lacks a bit in the execution department. Characters have very little depth to them. The art is also inconsistent, but the main plot is good enough to keep you ongoing. Only read this if you like survival-type manhwas. Number 8. Synthetic Instinct. This story takes place in a cyberpunk dystopian world. Isa's mundane life is completely changed when the government finds out that she's a chimera, a hybrid of two unrelated genes. Navigating an unforgiving society, Isa befriends a demobilized war machine named Rex, whose past is much darker and violent than she may realize. This comic is more focused on the drama part than action. This webtoon has a very good world building and hierarchy order. There are only a few side characters, but they are all well written and they feel like a part of this world. The art is also quite good, but it lacks action. This webtoon is not for everyone. Only give this a try if you want a heavy furry dystopian drama. Number 7. Theory of Paradise. Yu Yun-woo enters the Urban Alliance Central School as she was kicked out of the military. There she meets So Jae-hee, the president of the student council, and Jong Yun-hwan, a former member of the Urban Alliance. There's a prophecy about these three, which is about to come true. This manhwa has a really unique world design, but nothing much of this unique design has been explored yet. And it is also quite confusing at the start, which is a bummer. It also gives some similar vibes to the Psycho Pass anime. Most of the story takes place in the academy, and the pacing of the plot is really slow, and sometimes it feels like the drama part is too much dragged. The art is more female audience friendly, and this manhwa as well is only recommended for female audience. Only read this on Tapitoon app or website for the best experience. Number 6. I Have to Be a Monster. Xiao Qiu is the special hunter known as Mask. Mask guarded humanity against the evil monster for years on the front lines as a great hero. He was framed by the government who thought his power was a threat to them. Having experienced a depressed life and being reborn, he embarked on the path of becoming a bloodless and tearless monster who quietly guards humanity with his own strength. The main character has a really likable personality. He's more of a go-with-the-flow type guy. He can transform into a monster, which makes him even more cooler. He is quite ruthless. The art is nice as well. It becomes more polished during fight scenes. There are some unique monster designs in it. The side characters are pretty decent. The only major problem with this manhwa is the translation, but it's still readable. Give this a try if you want a dungeon-type manhwa with a really well-polished plot. Number 5. Pure Villain. This manhwa takes place in a world where special police exist to deal with criminals with special abilities. An unreasonable villain comes to Han Do-ryong, the strongest special police officer who was spending peaceful days. But something's wrong with this criminal. The worst villain, Park Rosa, loves the strongest hero, Han Dong-ryong. So basically, the main character is a police officer with special powers, and it's very hard to approach him, so the female character dresses up in a mask suit to tell him about her love and get his attention, but she gets branded as a criminal. The story is decent, and it becomes better later on. Characters are written well. The art is also good for a shoujo manhwa. This manhwa is only recommended for fans of shoujo and romance genre, otherwise, you are not gonna like it. Number 4. Silver Bullet Exorcist. In a chaotic Joseon dynasty with vampires, ghosts, and shamans, Park Moon-soo, who calls himself an imperial inspector, destroys a corrupted official. In order to subdue the Park Moon-soo, who's trying to revive the vampire king, the court dispatches An Son, a military officer who just passed the exam, to find Hong Kil-dong, an outlaw who's good at swordsmanship and martial arts. So the plot of this manhwa is a little bit complicated. Overall, it's a serious story with vampire lord versus demon lord type stuff, but there's also some really top-tier comedy in it. During the first few chapters, the main character feels out of place, and he's also used as a comedic character, which is a dumb decision, but it becomes better after some chapters. He also has the mask from the Mask of Zorro movie. The side characters are written very well. The world building is good, but the translation is sometimes off. Some websites have bad quality, so you have to be careful about that too. Even with all of its flaws, it still provides an overall good and funny reading experience. Number 3. Genius of the Unique Lineage. Both immortals and shapeshifters are different types of hunters, and our main character is a hybrid between an immortal and a shapeshifter. He has the abilities of both species, which make him overpowered. He wants to become a hunter and venture into dungeons and make a name for himself. He starts his special training for the hunter's test, which includes walking through a field of knives and other such bizarre stuff. This manhwa is quite good in terms of world building and character creation. The relationship between the main character and his family is quite wholesome. The main character has a decent personality, and he becomes overpowered very soon. The side characters are also written well. The art is decent, but not that much great, but it gets a little bit better later on. There's no action in it, at least for now, but the whole drama thing is really wholesome, and it never gets boring. Number 2. Soulwinder. In a city of clockwork, the worst day of Lillian's life ends in tragedy. She's in charge of a clockwork machine, which is responsible for all the light and infrastructure of the city, and it stops working for some reason, and her boyfriend is murdered by a warrior who shouldn't exist. As Lillian's own fight for survival unravels the mystery of her world, she learns of those known as Soulwinders, whose powers have the potential to recover what she lost. This webtoon takes place in a very unique world. Its story starts off a bit lame, but becomes much better after a few chapters. The side characters are the highlight of this webtoon. They are written very well, and also have unique and charming personalities. It's an original webtoon, but the art is a bit inconsistent, which is a bummer. Overall, it's a fairly unique modern-day fantasy webtoon. Number 1. Even the Demon King, one step at a time. Humans have tried many times to subjugate the Demon Lord, but they failed every time. This piqued the interest of another powerful being, the Sea Queen. She came to land in order to defeat the Demon Lord and become the strongest being, but when she arrived on Earth, her powers were sealed, and she became a small child, Yuria. Now, Yuria is living in a small village doing some odd jobs in order to get money, but one day she follows some adventurers into catacombs to get money and change her life, but she gets involved in something more deeper and chaotic. This is a top-tier fantasy manhwa. The main character is overpowered from the start, but she has some restrictions while using her powers. Her sidekicks are also overpowered. All the characters in this manhwa are written well. The story is really good, and it becomes more deeper with each chapter. There is also a lot of good comedy in it. The art during normal scenes is a bit mediocre, but it upscales during fight scenes. I highly recommend giving this hidden gem a try. Do you agree with our picks? Check out our other videos for more suggestions, and don't forget to give us a like before going. Until then, take care and we will see you in our next video.